Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, viewers. Welcome to the first installment of the What If experiment series we're doing on the channel. Today, we'll be answering the question, what if Mbappe lost his pace? And more importantly, is he a pace merchant? Welcome to the new setup. Let me know what you think. If you're watching, please like and subscribe, and let's get into the experiment. And this is Mbappe's player profile with 20 pace. No stats have been altered. He might have improved over the course of the season. The only thing I did change on his player profile is his injury proneness was set so lower so he doesn't get injured to affect the experiment. Tactically, I made sure the players play in the same positions, same roles, same formations. The only thing I can obviously influence is their injuries, because that's just up to luck, and red cards, which could have impacted several individual games. But Mbappe played as many games as he possibly could. Um, and if we look down here, we can see that he has scored 54 goals in 34 appearances, which is very impressive to say the least. 10 in the Champions League and 8 in the French Cup. So if we look on the competitions, they won the league, 110 points, 129 goal difference, unbeaten in the league, may I add. 7.96 rating for Kylian Mbappe, which is very impressive in the Champions League. They actually got knocked out in the quarterfinals by Leipzig. However, they still managed to get Kylian managed to get 10 goals, which is highly impressive up until the quarterfinal. French Cup, they won Trophy to the Champions or Champs. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it in France. They also won that with Mbappe being a top goal scorer of 1 goal, and he's actually got an 8-point rating, which is very, very impressive. Let's see if he actually won the Ballon d'Or in this simulation. FIFA Ballon d'Or. No, so it hasn't been released yet for this simulation, but that's Kylian Mbappe with 20 pace. Now let's see the type of goals he will score. Here's a couple of clips of the type of goals Mbappe will be scoring. So here we can see he uses acceleration to burst through the defenders and score the goals. Here he accelerates and gets the ball off the defenders, rounds the keeper. I feel like in the match engine doesn't look great, but I feel like that's probably what made the goal happen. And also like a lot of, I'm not going to show every single goal that he scored, because he scored 77 in this save file, but as you can see, it's just a lot of over-the-top balls from Messi and Neymar, great playmakers, threading it through, and he just finishes it. He's too quick for defenders to catch him, and I feel like that's all made him really dangerous in scoring those goals. With 20 pace, unstoppable, really. Great finishing, great composure, all the pace, over-the-top balls, lethal. Especially the tactic that we tried to utilize as well, so it really works well with a fast striker. And clearly, his pace is helping him a lot in these situations. That was a good run from him there as well. So yeah, but this is like, it's going to be very interesting by the time we get to the one pace scenario, like how much the type of goals he's scoring change. It's very rare to see him like going behind and top over the top ball working. And this is Mbappe with 10 pace and 10 acceleration. So we took down his pace a little bit. We didn't go straight to 1, but that's what we're looking after this one. So here we can see that, first of all, the keen-eyed of you would notice that his media description actually changed. I believe before it was elite striker. Now it's unpredictable striker because his pace isn't what it used to be. So I reckon like that clearly indicates the game values pace a lot, and you can kind of see that there's been a drop off in stats. Like his actual like goal scoring form has dipped. As in the previous save, when he had 20 pace, he scored 54 goals, if I'm not mistaken. Now he's got 25 to his name. That's in the league. Overall 45. So there's a drop off of like, overall, I reckon he got, another one was like 70s, wasn't it? 77 or something. Now he's got 45 overall, 25 in the league. That's like a 30 goal drop off, and like just because of the pace. And 10 pace is not fantastic. Like probably with 14 pace, I reckon he'll be scoring the same amount of goals. 10 pace is kind of mid. It's literally mid. That's what I was looking for. Literally mid. He's a 4-star player now, instead of 5-star in the previous when he had 20 pace. If we look at the competitions, he actually won the Champions League, and he was the top goal scorer for PSG with 11 goals. I don't, was he the He actually wasn't the competition's top goal scorer. Oh no, he was. He was. Apologies, Haaland had 10, not 11. So he actually was a competitions top goal scorer. He won the French Cup and he actually won everything they could, even the Friendly Cup. So overall, the team actually performed well, better than in the previous save file where he had more pace. So I wonder, like, if because that was a great grammatical sentence, because he like had to change his game, maybe he brought in other players, had to rely more on his mental attributes. So I don't know, he brought out like he didn't get. I say that like a hypothesis, but then his assists went down as well. So I don't know. I don't know why the team performed better. Maybe they just got luckier in the fixtures and luckier in like other player performances. Maybe other players stepped up. But yeah, so this is Kieran of 10 pace. You can say he's still good, but kind of mid, not the same player as with the pace. I'll show you some of the goals that he was scoring to see maybe there's like a difference, like a different approach to how he'd score his goals. But yeah, I'll see you after the goals for Kylian Mbappe with 1 pace, and that's where things really get interesting. These are the goals here that Mbappe with 10 pace was scoring. Still like a couple of top balls. I think that the first touch helped him out there. I think that's what the match is trying to show, that he had a good first touch on the keeper. Again, good ball in the behind, good positioning. He scores. But yeah, he's like, there's not a lot when I was going through the goals. There's not a lot of over the top balls like we saw in the first part with when he had 20 pace. Like there, it's mainly good positioning and good finishing that's helping him out. That's a lovely volley from him there, Zidane-esque, if I say so myself. But yeah, his play style has changed. Obviously, the goals he was scoring, he couldn't get in those positions anymore, which is I thought was quite interesting. To even the game engines, like you can see it, the different type of goals he's now forced to score. But yeah, it's gonna even change a bit more with the 1 pace in a second. So I'm actually gonna start you on this screen because something strange you can notice already at the player stats I've been highlighting with my cursor. Mbappe's not top goal scorer for PSG. It's actually Neymar with 28 goals and most assists. So Neymar kind of became the main man here at PSG. And if we look at his player profile, we have 1 pace, 1 acceleration. He's actually more rated, 4.5 stars. Maybe, yeah, he actually, well, in the other save, I think his progress went down here. He's actually on the up, improving a little bit. I did freeze his ability, so his pace could not improve because I feel like that would have made the experiment, like questionable. His value has like halved. He used to be worth like 200 million. Now he's only worth 148 million. So clearly the game values the pace. I guess it brings down his overall current ability down, I guess, as well. But clearly, even the pace attributes are very important, especially if you look down at the goal tally. 24 goals in all competitions, 51 games. So he played, I think, every game except for 3, depending on like how we'll see how far they get into all the competitions and stuff. But if we look at the season stats, Ligue 1, 38 games, 17 goals. I mean, for a normal striker in the French league, I guess you could say that's respectable. For Mbappe, who with 20 pace scored 4 times, only 5 times the goals, with 20 pace, that's pretty insane. His player average rating is 6.83, so that's very low. As with 20 pace, I believe his average 7.97, so he was nearly averaging an 8 every game. Now he's averaging a 6.83, which is kind of poor, as you can imagine. Um, and then in the French Cup, he actually scored 6 goals in 6 games. Fair enough. Trophy didn't score. The Champions League. Oh, it's a top, sorry. Only 1 goal, 6 games, so I don't think they won this time. If we look at the competitions, they got knocked out in the group stages. Wow. If we look, who was in their group? Where's their group? Am I being blind? Ba, 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 ba. Oh, wow. Fourth. They finished fourth in the Champions League group. Celtic finishing second. That's crazy. Is he that integral? Is pace like that important that it's literally the difference between like 50 goals overall in the competitions and winning the Champions League and getting knocked out in the group stage, coming in last. I guess maybe the other players like like injury wise maybe, or like red cards or something maybe happened as well that kind of impacted. But this is like a really dark future for Mbappe, where he loses. Did he? This, I think they still win the league because like PSG is a stacked team. Yeah, they won the league only by a point difference. Whereas with 20 pace, blew it out of the water, undefeated season with no pace. He 1 point is all that separates PSG from Monaco, which I think is crazy. And it also will be crazy in a second. I'll show you the goals, like the way he had to change. Like he didn't score many goals, and the goals he scored weren't like the over top balls that you saw in the previous clips where he had more pace. They were literally like deflections, or there would be a cross, and he actually score headers, and like volleys, and he had to change the way he played his game. Although he has still great stats elsewhere, so like decisions, the composure, the finishing, is still probably helping him out. But that's crazy. I didn't expect that the pace would be that much of a like a difference maker, really. But I'll show you the goals that he was scoring, and then we'll come back for the final thoughts and conclusions. See you there. Now to a portion I believe most of us have been waiting to see. Mbappe with one pace, how does he play? Does he get affected much? Is he still silking the ball? Is he still beating defenders? Is he taking the outrageous shots? Is he still Mbappe? And from the goals in like the match engine, what it's trying to show us that I think Mbappe had to change his play style with one pace. As you can see, he's scoring. He's relying more on his positioning rather than his pace. This goal here that you're seeing right now, only one out of all the 17 goals that he scored in the league and 24 overall. Well, the only one where the ball went over the top, and he actually broke through and scored, which obviously, as you expect with one pace, would be very rare for him to do. But yeah, it worked one time. The rest of his goals here, you can see a scrappy goal, tap in, relying on positioning. I think like the team that's around him is really facilitating him nicely. Like that ball there across to him, good finish. So yeah, it's clear to see that Mbappe actually had to change his play style, and he's become more of like a poacher, uh, hanging on at the edge of the box more often. He can't do those like late runs because he can't just get there in time because he hasn't got that pace anymore. And now for the final thoughts, the conclusion to the experiment after seeing all the clips, all the stats, all the comparisons between what you could achieve with different levels of pace. It's clear to see that Mbappe with pace is better than Mbappe with no pace. I think that's no surprise. Clearly, the match engine values pace, and its attributes were lean into more of like a in behind player, winger. Um, and he had to change his game's play style, as you could see in the final clips. When he had one pace, he actually had to play more as a poacher, kind of, and he was kind of successful. Like a striker scoring 17 goals in the league, you'd say, yeah, it's a pretty successful season. It's not bad. But when you compare him with 20 pace and scoring 54 goals in a season, now only has 38 games, you're asking yourself, maybe he is a bit of a pace merchant, and maybe I wouldn't say maybe he's a pace merchant, but his pace is his strongest attribute, and that he can still perform to a respectable level without the pace. But his pace is what makes him great. I think that's clearly the conclusion that his stats, or according to Manager at least, his stats are not suited for a poacher or a target man because of his physicality as well. But it's quite clear he is just a player that loves to get in behind, and his pace is a strong attribute. But anyways, you can come to your conclusions based on the results I've presented to you today. I hope you've enjoyed watching the first what if experiment on the channel. I hope that you've enjoyed it enough to leave a like, to subscribe, and if you want to see more experiments, let me know in the comments for any ideas, any suggestions you have. I'll try to make them. Also, if you're new here, I also have a save called the Gillingham Giants, where we're using players of a 6'4" and above. So we have to venture outside the box in that one. And it's also quite a fun challenge. We start in tier 10. We recently got promoted, so make sure you check that out as well. And yeah, thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.